One thing a girl going to do is duck accountability. Like, real shit. How the fuck they'll do some shit, get you to react, and then make your reaction the issue? So now they ain't gotta be accountable.
Why you let you post it then?
Nobody cares.
Then why you let you post it?
Every time somebody asks me about, she died. She died.
A woman is dead and another woman is behind bars charged with her murder.
Police say when they arrived last Sunday night at May Street near Burbank and Walnut Hills, they found 33-year-old Diamond Rice suffering from a gunshot wound. She died at the scene.
On a cold February evening in 2026, a woman who had dedicated her life to saving troubled youth made a phone call to her father. She was upset about an argument with her girlfriend. Her father, sensing something in her voice, told her something that would haunt him forever. He said, "You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, Diamond. So whatever it is, just fix it." Less than 2 hours later, Diamond Rice was dead. But here's the thing that makes this case so disturbing. The woman who pulled the trigger claims she had no choice. She says it was self-defense. So the question we have to ask ourselves is this: when does love turn deadly? And how do we know who's telling the truth? If you're new to Mystoracrime, we dive deep into cases that make you question everything you think you know about human nature. Hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me what you think about this case. Share this with someone who loves true crime. And make sure you're subscribed with that bell icon turned on, because we're covering cases like this every single week. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let me take you back to the beginning of Diamond's story, because understanding who she was makes what happened to her even more tragic. Diamond Rice wasn't just another victim in a domestic violence statistic. She was 33 years old, originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and her life story was one of complete transformation. See, Diamond had a troubled youth. She grew up facing challenges that could have destroyed her, the kind of difficulties that send so many young people down dark paths they never recover from. But Diamond was different. She found her way to an organization called Youth Advocate Programs, or YAP, and this program literally changed the entire trajectory of her life. Instead of becoming a statistic, she became a success story. Instead of giving up, she decided to give back. By the time Diamond was in her 30s, she had moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and was working as the assistant director for YAP in Hamilton County. Think about that for a second. The same program that saved her life when she was young, she was now running it, helping other kids who were going through exactly what she went through. Her colleagues describe her as a powerful force, someone who wasn't afraid to share her own story at fundraising events and awareness campaigns. She would stand up in front of crowds and tell them about her past, about her struggles, because she wanted people to understand that change is possible, that redemption is real. But Diamond wasn't done improving herself. Even while working full-time helping troubled youth, she was pursuing her bachelor's degree in social work at Northern Kentucky University. And she wasn't just getting by. She made the president's honors list. In November 2024, just a few months before her death, she represented YAP at the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. This woman was on fire with purpose. Her mother later described her as everybody's sunshine on a cloudy day. Her father called her very strong, very beautiful, and resilient. Everyone who knew Diamond seemed to agree on one thing. She had overcome so much, and she was using that pain to help others. Her future looked bright, but there was something happening in Diamond's personal life that nobody outside her inner circle fully understood. She was in a relationship with a woman named Jasmine Blake. Jasmine was 31 years old, worked as a nurse, and was also a student. On the surface, they seemed like two young professional women building a life together in Cincinnati. They shared an apartment on May Street in the Walnut Hills neighborhood. But like so many relationships that end in tragedy, there were cracks beneath the surface that were growing wider. We know from Diamond's father that there had been some kind of disagreement between Diamond and Jasmine in the days leading up to February 1st. We don't know exactly what they were arguing about, but it was serious enough that Diamond called her dad to talk about it. That phone call happened around 8:30 in the evening on February 1st. Scott Rice, Diamond's father, could hear the stress in his daughter's voice. He gave her that advice, telling her to fix whatever was wrong, because you never know what tomorrow might bring. Can you imagine being that father now, knowing those were some of the last words he ever said to his daughter, knowing that he told her to fix it, and just hours later, she would be dead? Around 10 o'clock that same night, neighbors in the Walnut Hills area heard something that would shatter the quiet evening. Gunshots. Multiple calls came into Cincinnati police dispatch reporting shots fired on the 2300 block of May Street. Officers rushed to the scene, and when they arrived at the apartment Diamond shared with Jasmine, they found a nightmare. Diamond Rice was lying there suffering from a gunshot wound. The officers and paramedics immediately began life-saving measures, trying desperately to bring her back, but it was too late. Diamond was pronounced dead at the scene. The woman who had survived a troubled youth, who had turned her life around completely, who was helping countless other young people find their way, was gone, killed in her own home, killed by someone she loved. The investigation moved quickly. By 4 o'clock in the morning on February 2nd, Jasmine Blake was arrested and charged with murder. Now here's where this case gets really complicated. And this is what I want you to really think about. The evidence against Jasmine seemed pretty straightforward at first. According to the criminal complaint filed by homicide investigators, they had 3 main pieces of evidence. First, they had the crime scene itself, the physical evidence that told a story about what happened in that apartment. Second, they had statements that Jasmine made during 911 calls. And third, they had witness accounts that confirmed Jasmine used a handgun to shoot Diamond during an argument. So on the surface, this looks like a case of domestic violence that escalated to murder, right? A couple having an argument that turned deadly when one of them grabbed a gun.
Court records state the shooting happened after an argument.
But then Jasmine's defense attorney came forward with a completely different narrative. And this is what makes true crime so fascinating and so difficult. During Jasmine's first court appearance on February 3rd, her lawyer stood up and said that Jasmine shot Diamond in self-defense because she was being attacked. The attorney pointed out that Jasmine had visible marks on her face from the altercation. He also revealed something interesting. Jasmine's brother was on a FaceTime call during part of the incident, which means there's potentially a witness to at least some of what happened that night. Now let's talk about those 911 calls, because this is where things get even more complicated. When Jasmine called 911, prosecutors say she told dispatchers she's gone, referring to Diamond. But she also said that Diamond was going to kill her. Think about those words for a second. She's gone. Diamond was going to kill me. Those are the words of someone who just shot another person. But they're also the words of someone who sounds terrified. The question is, was Jasmine really in fear for her life, or was she creating a narrative to justify what she had just done? The prosecutors had a strong response to the self-defense claim. They pointed out something crucial. Police did not have any indication that Diamond was armed in a way that would necessitate the use of deadly force. Diamond didn't have a gun. She didn't have a knife. Whatever was happening between these two women that night, Diamond was not armed with a weapon that could match the lethality of the handgun Jasmine used. The prosecutors also noted that when officers examined Jasmine, they did not see any blatant, significant injuries that would have indicated using a gun was necessary. Yes, there were marks on her face, but were those marks serious enough to justify shooting someone to death? This is the heart of the legal battle that's going to unfold in this case. Self-defense laws are really specific. You're allowed to use force to protect yourself, but the force you use has to be proportional to the threat you're facing. If someone slaps you, you can't legally shoot them and claim self-defense. If someone is punching you, that's assault. But does it rise to the level where you can use lethal force? These are the questions a jury is going to have to wrestle with. Was Jasmine really in such grave danger that she had no choice but to use a gun? Or was this a domestic dispute that she could have walked away from, could have called the police about, could have handled in literally any other way besides taking Diamond's life? Let me paint you a picture of what we know happened in that apartment based on the evidence that's been made public. Diamond and Jasmine were arguing about something. We don't know what started it or what it was about. At some point, the argument became physical. We know this because Jasmine had marks on her face. We also know that at some point during this altercation, Jasmine's brother was on FaceTime, which suggests that either Jasmine or Diamond or maybe even the brother himself, was worried enough about the situation that someone wanted a witness on the line. Then at some point, Jasmine got access to a handgun. She aimed it at Diamond, the woman she lived with, the woman she was in a relationship with, and she pulled the trigger. Diamond Rice, a woman who had overcome so much in her life, who was helping so many people, died right there in the apartment she shared with the person who was supposed to love her. The legal proceedings moved forward quickly. Jasmine Blake appeared in court and was held on a $750,000 bond. That's a significant bond amount, which tells you how seriously the court is taking this charge. She's sitting in the Hamilton County Justice Center right now, waiting for her case to go to trial. And the entire legal system is going to have to figure out what really happened on that February night. But while the legal system grinds forward, two communities are grieving. In Baltimore, where Diamond grew up and turned her life around, about 100 people gathered for a vigil at the New Shiloh Apostolic Temple on Hartford Road. They came together to remember Diamond, to celebrate her life, to mourn what was taken from her. Her mother, Wanda Salmons, spoke about how she's been trying to reach out to Jasmine's family, desperate for answers. She said, "I just want answers from Jasmine on why did she do this to my daughter."
Honestly, I tried to reach out to Jasmine's mother because I know them, and I didn't get a response, but I just want answers from Jasmine on why did she do this to my daughter.
Can you imagine being that mother? Your daughter escapes a troubled youth, builds an amazing life, dedicates herself to helping others, and then she's killed by her own girlfriend. And you can't even get an explanation for why it happened. The director of YAP in Hamilton County released a statement calling Diamond a powerful force at YAP who will be sorely missed in Hamilton County, in Ohio, and nationally. Think about that word, nationally. Diamond's impact had spread beyond just her local community. She was making a difference on a larger scale. And now she's gone, and all those kids she could have helped in the future, all those lives she could have changed, that potential is just erased. So here's what I want you to think about as we close this out. This case forces us to confront some really uncomfortable questions about domestic violence, about self-defense, and about how we evaluate the truth when two people are in a room and only one of them survives to tell the story. Was Jasmine Blake a victim who made a split-second decision to save her own life, or was she someone who let anger and violence take control and then tried to justify it afterward? How do we balance the physical evidence against the emotional testimony? How do we weigh marks on someone's face against a dead body on the floor? And here's the even bigger question that this case raises. Why don't people just leave? Why don't they walk out the door when an argument is escalating? Diamond had called her father hours earlier. She could have left. She could have gone to stay with a friend. Jasmine could have left too. She could have called the police if she felt threatened. But neither of them left. And now one of them is dead, and the other is facing a murder charge. What keeps people trapped in these situations where they know things are getting dangerous, but they stay anyway? I want you to think about Diamond's father telling her to fix it, not knowing that trying to fix it might have been what got her killed. I want you to think about all the young people Diamond helped through YAP who won't have her guidance anymore. I want you to think about Jasmine Blake sitting in jail, claiming she had no choice, while prosecutors say the evidence tells a different story. What do you think really happened in that apartment? Do you believe Jasmine's claim of self-defense? Or do you think this was something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to hear what you think about this case. And if this story affected you, if it made you think, if it made you feel something, smash that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to Mystoracrime if you haven't already, and turn on that bell notification so you never miss a case. We're here every week bringing you the cases that make you question everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.